So, everybody ain't tired of arguing yet? Because I'm tired. And if I'm tired from just watching y'all, I know y'all tired. Let's get into
I do
it.
not owe you conversation. Let's also get that clear. We don't want to hear from you. Go away. She said, well, I changed my mind. And she has that right.
I'm tired. And I know if I'm tired, y'all tired. But let's get into this episode. The episode is titled Cherish. And we get started with Lamisha in the studio. Finally see her working with the vocal coach. And, once again, they're going over the fact that Aubrey's gone. So they have to re-record her parts. And so Felicia goes and finds Fallon and tells Fallon about everything that just happened. So of course they rush back downstairs to the studio, and it's another argument with Cosign. And he's just like, why are y'all coming at me like this? And I get it, because a lot of people had a problem with the way that Felicia spoke to him and how she was just coming off really aggressive, when she could have had the conversation with him in a better way. And I get it. So then you got both of the sisters going back and forth, and Keely like being a hype man in the back. So it was just a whole nother thing. But Felicia tells him, I don't want you on nothing that I worked on. I think she told him he could stay on Leave Don't Go, whatever the song is called, because ain't nobody ever got the title right. He could stay on that song, but anything else, it's a no-go. And so it was so funny, because I think it was outside when they interviewed him by himself. He was like, here we go again, like however DMX do it. And I was just like, I love that song. That's like one of my favorite songs of his. So it was so funny when he did that. But he was just like, I don't understand basically where this is coming from. And I do want to add, I watched a live with him, Elijah, and Aaliyah, and he said the same thing. He was like, if they would have told me before we got on the show, like, hey, we gonna act a donkey, but just go along with it, I'd have been all, like, he would have been all cool for it. But the fact that they didn't say nothing, they was just acting like that, it really threw off the relationship, because they knew each other beforehand. And so, basically, he just, well, he doesn't leave. It's like they walk out, the twins walk out again, which it is very tiring, because it's just like, how many times y'all gonna walk away instead of getting something resolved? But so Lamisha comes out the studio, and she's basically like, what's going on? Oh, because Cosign asked, he was like, so do all of y'all feel that way? Like, all of y'all want me gone? And Lamisha first thing is, well, I don't know what happened, so I can't say if I'm on whoever's side. But she don't trust the twins, so she not just going with them. And Keely tells her, well, you're a part of this group, so you should be siding with us. And Lamisha's like, well, I don't know what happened, so who's to say? So Cosign explains himself, and of course, Irish and Lamisha is on the I hate the twins train, so they not gonna side with them and say basically they do this all the time. And which I find so funny, because let's go back to her confronting Pam the last episode, like, you don't back us up on anything. So it's just like, so somebody's supposed to have your back, but you can't have they back, but y'all supposed to be in a group together. Like, make it make sense. And so when Keely left with the twins, like I said, but Pam said she had to say something, because she feels like the common denominator is Keely. She's like, wherever there's a problem, Keely is right there, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I see how she could, you got to blame somebody. But anyway, but she tells Keely, she's like, Keely, I understand you trying to have your little moment, but really, like, there's no need for this, and it seems like wherever there's trouble, you're right there. And Keely doesn't say anything. And I see why people call her a Karen or call her a white woman, because like she didn't say anything to defend her, so she basically just looked like she was gonna cry and didn't say anything. And Pam also tells the twins, like, I understand you guys were also trying to have your moment, but there is a way to say and do things without being as crazy and loud as you are. And the twins didn't say nothing to her either. So it's just like, I get that Pam is like that figure in the house where, you come at her correct or you don't come at her at all. But it's just like, so when y'all met with reason, y'all ain't got nothing to say. Like, basically, y'all just rah-rah, which I was kind of disappointed, because it's like, when they have points more so speaking towards the twins. It's like when they have points, I'm on their side. But it's just like, so when somebody comes at y'all correctly, you know, y'all ain't got nothing to say. Or y'all can only just be loud and rambunctious. Lord, let me get my words together. And so we have, you know, the twins are upstairs, and then we have Irish and Lamisha still in the studio talking to Cosign. Now, this is where I'm about to have a problem. So, you know, they're just explaining where the house is basically divided. Irish says you have me and my sister on one side, the twins on the other side, and then you have the floaters. And production, this is where they pan the camera to Nivea and Shamari, basically saying they just go wherever the wind blows. And she said who's ever popular, that's where they go, which I've been saying the same thing, but y'all are also in that boat, although y'all like to think that y'all not. And my thing is, I don't understand where this attitude from Irish is coming from, but I guess the deeper they got into the show, the more she started feeling herself, and she had so much to say. But she is in her confessional, and she says that, what did she say? She said the twins didn't bring anything to the table but along with.
And I think when it came to this house, and I can say this as a producer, there would have been no music without Felicia and Fallon.
And let's be clear, that's coming from the producer of the show. So that means he's watched all the footage and knows that this music that came from this show would not be possible without those twins. So what are you talking about? What did you contribute? You the one that's crying that you only got 1 or 2 lines. So if they didn't bring nothing, you know, like, where did this music come from? Because the producer said if it was not for the twins, there would be no music. Like, yeah, you had Cosign, which they said Cosign and I think Elijah, like, they was only there for an hour, maybe like once a week. So in all that other time, who was making that music and who was doing all that? The twins, exactly. Like, Irish, what do you produce? What did you bring to the table? But a hoarse-ass voice and somebody who can't sing, can't dance, but we're gonna get to that too. And so, and then it was so random, because like in the middle of them talking about that, of her saying, you know, like, this is how the house is, her and her sister get to talking about makeup, but that's how you know they drunk. Really, they ain't do nothing in this house but drink and fight. That's all this was. And so, like I said, they still talking about re-recording Aubrey's parts, excuse me, and Iris still says something about only having 1 or 2 lines, but they don't really care about it, because they was outside talking about it, and Lamisha said something about singing more, and Iris like, well, I'm the one who only has 1 or 2 lines, and they get up and, you know, they walk away. But the twins say, like, I'm so tired of hearing that. Both of them say, Lamisha and Iris, like, they only got a certain amount of lines in a song. And I think it was Felicia who made a great point. She said, do you care about who can sing it the best, or do you just want to be heard? Which is so true. It's like, nobody is trying to diminish their talent and just completely put them off to the side. But if we're trying to put out the best project we can be, or we can have, why would we let you take the lead? And that's just being honest. And if you're going to be in the music business, which they have, I'm pretty sure somebody has told her that before. And if you have wanted to do something on your own before and you feel like you can do it, why have you not done it before now? So many people are independent. And once again, her being in the studio with Cosign, bringing up the fact that they've sold more records. The fact that you have sold more records does not mean that you are more talented than these girls. And that's their problem. And I feel like I get it. I totally get it. Because it's like, yeah, we're the least known. We did not sell the most records. But all in all, it seems like they are more talented than you. And that's what y'all can't seem to wrap y'all minds around. Like, y'all have machines behind y'all to sell y'all out to people. So yeah, y'all sold more. Y'all were more popular. But when it comes to work, y'all not working like them. Y'all don't have the talent that they do. So it don't matter that you sold more than them if you can't work like they working. And I want that to stop being a thing that's being said, because y'all think that justifies the fact that y'all don't have to do nothing. Y'all get to sit back and not do shit just because y'all sold more records than them. Who cares if you ain't got the talent to back it up? Cause you ain't writing nothing, you ain't dancing, you ain't doing nothing, but you got so much words for the twin. Like, make it make sense. You and your sister are so full of shit, and I get so mad seeing people on their side. I'm like, are y'all really on their side because they have a point, or do y'all like the music back in the 90s and feel like that just automatically makes them right in this situation? It doesn't. Let me stop you. It doesn't. And so then we have a moment of Nivea and Shamari bonding over them having twins and, you know, loving their babies and loving their kids. Whoop-de-whoop. Great for them. Felicia is sitting at the table by herself, you know, just drinking a glass of wine. She off to the side. She by herself. She not saying nothing to nobody. She just sitting there. Here comes Lamisha. And I feel like it's nitpicking. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you know you don't rock with somebody like that, leave them alone. And that's all I'm gonna say. Just leave them alone. Because she comes in and she sees her by herself. And I guess you can tell that she's upset. Even though some people can just sit and chill and nothing be wrong. They just off to themselves. Don't want to talk to nobody. But they just swore up and down that they knew she had an attitude. And she's like, Felicia, what's wrong? Felicia like, I'm fine. I'm just sitting off to myself. I'm cool. What's wrong? I said I'm good. You know, I don't feel like talking. I'm good. You can tell me what's wrong. Like, bitch, I told you I'm okay. So leave me the fuck alone. Like, I don't get that. If I tell you I'm okay and I don't want to talk, do not continue to badger me and continue. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? It's like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk. And that's, well, we'll get to that later. And so then outside, once again, Lamisha is like, the common denominator is the twins, which I don't believe. I believe it's a bad job of editing that put all these moments together to just make it seem like it's completely the twins and it ain't nobody else's fault. And I don't believe it. But she says, you know, they're the problem. So Irish trying to hype up her sis, I was going to say her twin, hype up her sister and say, well, you're the queen. Say something. You know I'm going to have your back. She don't have to be the queen to say something. They was arguing long before she was the queen. But it's like, what is there to say? They're the talent. They're bringing the stuff that y'all are working with. It's like, y'all can't take their stuff and then try to kick them out. I mean, well, you could, because that is the music business. But it's just like, come on now. Without what they contributed, what do y'all have? Nothing. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, Irish, I don't understand where this attitude is coming from. Because in the beginning, you were meek and quiet and just, you know, really. And I'm like, I don't understand where this solidarity is coming from. Because y'all both done threw each other. Well, the twins undid it too, I guess. Y'all done threw each other under the bus. Because first it was Irish. Like, my sister, basically like put my career on the side to take care of my family, basically saying like, you know, she done stood up for her sister in some type of way in the earlier episodes. And then just last episode, Lamisha was like, you know, she's saying she ain't got enough parts, but when it's time to work, she ain't nowhere to be found. So now you want her to say something and you gonna stand up with her? Okay. So the next day, they're up and going down to the studio, and Cosign sent the ladies flowers and like a gift basket, but the twins ain't there for it. They're like, they don't want no flowers, they don't want no gifts. They want more so Felicia. She was like, I want him to hit my phone, apologize to me personally, because you know, that was it against me. That wasn't against nobody else. So what you apologizing to them for? Apologize to me. But then Pam found a card because they thought it was just like the flowers and the gifts. But he wrote in the card asking to apologize for last night. But the twins ain't trying to hear nothing. They're like, they working on this music. They're like, man, we trying to cut this music and y'all just being real loud. Because everybody, and that's enough, once again, nitpicking. Because everybody's just like, oh, that's so sweet. Y'all don't like this? This is so cute. Y'all don't like this? This is so nice. Y'all don't like this? And it's just like, you can obviously see that they not feeling it. And y'all done held on to grudges too. So quit. I just don't like it. Because now it's like a gang up thing where anything the twins do, they seem to find a way to have a problem with it. But anyway, later on in the day, the ladies are having a burn party where, you know, you bring something where you burn it to release it and you don't have to worry about it, or you're not going to worry about it anymore. So, oh, excuse me. So we start with Keely. Keely brings out a bucket of chicken because if you know the story of 3LW, there being claims of her and Adrian throwing chicken and macaroni and cheese at what's her name, Notori, I hope I'm saying it right. And you know, she said basically my life has become a chicken meme and I'm trying to release that and move on with my life. And she basically admitted that, you know, unfortunately our big blow up did involve a restaurant, and basically finally admitting all these years that they did do that to that girl after saying that they did. So Fallon has a letter and she's like, you know, this is hard for me. I don't think I'm gonna make it through. So Felicia offers to read it for her. And she's basically, you know, saying she was a teenage artist, traveling the world at 15 with her sisters. Their dad was their manager and they found out that they were going broke. And she was upset with her dad for a long time. And she is finally releasing that anger from her father and she wants to move on and, you know, basically release that and do something else. Pam is burning lies. She says, you know, even recently she has still been lying and it has been a problem in her life and she doesn't want to lie anymore. Irish is burning her fear of being in the studio, of singing, you know, basically, and she wants to be more vocal, which, okay. Lamisha burns leg warmers, saying, you know, she's not the greatest dancer. But I thought that meant like she was going to work on it more. Like she knows she's not the best dancer, but her fear of not being a good dancer, she was letting that go and going to work on it more. That's how I took it, but maybe I was wrong. Shamari has a behind the scenes tape of the Blackout album that was never released. And now everybody else stuff so far, I can see how it could just be around the house. Keely had to call somebody for that bucket of chicken though, because it was KFC specifically and not just some chicken. Shamari, where you get that tape from? You just walking around with it? You just keep it on you? Like, where you get that tape from? Felicia, you know, they blurred it out, but you could tell that it's a Cherish CD. Actually, I think it's the first Cherish CD. She said she wanted to burn it because she feels like that's releasing the control that record labels had on them back in the day, and she wants to let that go. And I was like, I can see, because you know, I've said before, like watching this show and in the earlier episode, I was against the twins. I said the twins ain't making no sense for them to be doing all that hooping and hollering and demanding respect and wanting to be acknowledged. Pull over, skirt with me just real quick, because I do want to say something. How everybody took that statement about, I think Felicia is a producer, what she said about Missy Elliott, everybody took that and said she was comparing herself to Missy Elliott. I don't think so. I think she was just saying, you know, I am a woman who is a producer, and what other famous producer that is a woman that you can name right off the top of your head without it being Missy Elliott? And look how long it took for Missy to get her respect, which is a true statement. It's like people, unless you really into music, it's just like everyday consumer of music and listening to music, they don't know a woman producer right off the top of their head besides Missy. If you're not deep into music like that and looking at who produced, who wrote, and all this, you don't know that stuff off the top of your head. That was a true statement that she made. Like, besides Missy, who had to work hard as hell to get her recognition. And it's just like, unless you love her, which who doesn't love Missy? But it's just like, it took some years for her to get that recognition. So I never understood how everybody just took it and went, she's comparing herself to Missy. You bow down. You could never. It's like, she never said that though. Y'all took that and ran completely away with it. So I can see how they're fighting so hard for their respect, you know, going back to the burn party with what both of them said. It's just like they were broke. I'm assuming, I don't know, like the dad didn't do good management. They didn't get any recognition. Maybe they wrote on those albums. It's just like they don't feel seen and they don't feel heard, and they're fighting so hard to get it. They're going about it the wrong way. Let me make that clear. But I can see the fight that they're having, and people are just being so dismissive, and it's kind of disheartening to watch, honestly, but I get it. People got their faves and they gonna go with it, so whatever. Nivea has a rose. This was a little emotional, y'all. She has a rose that she wore to her mom's funeral that she's burning, and it made her a little, she got choked up. Like, I sound like I'm choked up, but I promise I'm not. And I think I want to get her words right because I hope I don't say it wrong. But I think she said she's finally accepting that her mom is no longer here. You know, like physically on this earth. She's trying to let that go. So I get, you know, carrying that rose around with her everywhere is not doing her any good. So she wants to burn it and be done with it. And, you know, that was very emotional for real. It was just like, whew, girl, tearjerker. And then what was it? So, you know, like everybody gets up and leave because after that, you know, like they try to console her for a minute. Then she's left out there by herself, and she says, you know, Aubrey leaving, that's what made her feel sad, because it's just like, I thought we were all in this together. I didn't know that you could just leave. Because I didn't mention that last episode. She said, you know, if I knew we could just leave, I thought I'd be the first one. Because, you know, all this bickering and these girl groups and all that type of stuff, I ain't with that. I only know me. And she said, you know, but I didn't come here to quit. I came here to finish to the end. But she's like, you know, I really don't want to be here anymore. And you can see it's wearing on her. But I've said that from the beginning, and you know, plenty of other people have too. She's a solo artist. She don't know nothing about these girl groups. She ain't even, I think she said, you know, I ain't even around women like this to be going through all of this. So I'm not with this. So then we have Keely in the kitchen with, I think it's Shamari and Lamisha, and she says, you know, who wants to go dance? And Lamisha says, well, I don't. And I'm like, but just we was just at the burn party, was we not? Like, did you say you was releasing that and you was gonna work harder on it? Or at least that's what I took it to mean, but no. But we have Shamari, Lamisha, and Irish. They go down there, and Keely is trying to give direction, but, and honestly, like I said, it seems like all they do is drink and fight, because Lamisha and Iris got on sunglasses, and you can obviously tell that they drunk. It looks like they drunk. So being drunk and trying to learn dance moves that y'all need to learn, because I think they say they only got like a few more weeks and this is all over. And why wouldn't you want to practice if you don't really want to know the dance moves? So you just gonna be up there looking crazy? I like, see, nah, this is what I don't get. But also, like I said, Irish gave a lot of attitude these last two episodes, but also in this, it's just like her and Lamisha in their confessionals, like, Keely, don't try to tell me what to do. I don't need to listen to you. Sounded very much like kids, like, don't tell me what to do. And Lamisha, like, you don't want to go there with me. I'm not the one. But it's like, if you need direction, why can't you take direction from somebody who's trying to help you? Because if she's the creative director, she's not a part of the group, so why can't she help you out? Because you obviously need it. You said yourself, and it's like nobody is picking on you. You said yourself that you are not a great dancer or even a good dancer. So if somebody is trying to help you learn the steps that you need to learn so you don't go out on stage looking a fool, why wouldn't you take that direction? And so, you know, like, as soon as it's over, because they wasn't getting the moves, and Keely like pulled up the video, like, you know, this is what she's doing, you know, watch this is what she's doing. And they like, that's not, you don't know what you talking, basically. And it's just like, so they like, we done for the night? Yeah, we're done, let's go, let's wrap it up. So it's like, okay, cool, I guess we're done. And Keely goes right to the studio and tells the twins, and I think Shamari was in there too, so she's rehashing what just happened. And, you know, talking her shit like she usually do. But, of course, no surprise, go stand at the top of the steps and listen to what they saying. So, of course, Irish and Lamisha hear everything. And they come, you know, trotting down the stairs. What was said? What was said? And some reason, Lamisha takes this as an opportunity to automatically blame the twins. Once again, in Phoebus and Verb, they need to learn how to shut their mouths. And when Lamisha came downstairs, she was like, you know, we're gonna close this door. We can hear you guys upstairs. And it's just like, oh, okay. Like, girl, we don't fought with you all this time. Okay, you can hear us. Whoop-de-doo. And that was her thing. You know, if you're gonna talk shit about somebody, at least do it to where they can hear you. Why? I'm not pussy. You heard me. Like, so what's the problem? Like, how you big and bad? I could be big and bad too. So what? Like, what are you talking about? But so where we at? But Irish goes right to Keely and was like, what's the problem? And Keely was like, I just said this to your face. So, like, what is the... I'm not trying to argue with you, but I said this already, and now I'm telling them. But, you know, Keely is pussy. Let's be clear. She ain't about that life. So, she just like, you know, I wasn't even trying to get into this type of situation with you. And so, Irish says, well, don't get into it with them then. What you telling them for? Keely ain't got nothing to say. So, I'm just like, girl, I really can't back you up. You got to learn how to back up the shit that you talking. And so then it turns into a thing of Fallon is saying what needs to be said, but everybody wants to coddle people's feelings, which I don't understand. Like, how are y'all in the music industry? The music industry is so cutthroat and will tell you when you ain't got it. But she's basically saying, what did she say? Fallon said, you know, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And everybody is just up in arms about that statement, which is a true statement. It's like nobody is calling Irish weak and saying that she is the weakest link per se. It's like we all got stuff to work on. But if ain't nobody willing to work, like constantly work at it, like if you only working at it here and there, and then we get out on this stage looking the fool, and they are going to pan the camera right to what looks a mess, because that's going to get the most views and have people talking like, did you see her? She ain't following the moves. Her mic ain't up here. Is she lip syncing? It looks like she lip syncing. Like, why is that so hard to understand? And as people who have been in the music industry, I'm sure, I am positive that y'all have heard something like this in the past. But because it is coming from the twins, nobody wants to hear it. And they're going to forever be wrong. And, you know, it's going to be a problem. And so Nivea has finally had enough. She's like, you know, but yeah, if you are constantly talking shit about somebody, you know, they're not going to want to work hard. They're not going to want to give it their all, because you are always just hammering at somebody. And it's just like, but that's the business that y'all in. Am I stupid? Like, I'm not getting it. It's just like, this is what y'all do. Y'all need to work hard. Y'all need to make sure y'all got the steps. Y'all need to make sure that y'all sound good. So telling somebody that, hey, do that again. Make sure, like, hammer it into them. Like, why is that a problem? And so, you know, that becomes another argument. So it's just like, and Nivea says something, you know, like, if I would have heard somebody tell me that I'm the weakest link, they would have got punched in their fucking face. And so then they still going. So you still got Lamisha and the twins still going, and Lamisha is behind Fallon. So, you know, Fallon got to turn, like, you know, what you walking up on me for? Like, what's the problem? And Nivea is in their face like, okay, can y'all please stop? Just, like, she is literally begging them like, okay, that's enough. Can everybody please stop? But everybody is still arguing. You got, like, Felicia is saying something like this way, and then you got Fallon talking this way, and Lamisha is saying something as well. So I'm just like, it ain't just the twins' fault. Like, they got to argue with somebody. So if they arguing, somebody is responding. So it's not just the twins' fault. And so at some point, one of the twins, I think it was Felicia, saying, Nivea, you need to get out my face for real. Because even though she was begging them to stop, it's still like, all right, get out my face. Like, come on now. I don't want to hear that. Back up, please. And then Felicia also says, I wish you would fight this hard for everybody instead of just this situation at hand. And Nivea says, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I know what the F I do. So don't try to make it seem like I don't fight for everybody and try to be fair, which is true. Nivea has always been on the side of trying to have fun, get the work done, and let that be that. But it's like tensions are high, so people get caught in the crossfires. It just is what it is. So then Nivea walks out. She's like, you know what? I'm done at this point. So she goes up to her room. Oh, excuse me. So after it's all said and done and things finally died down, you have the twins walking up the stairs saying, you know, I love Nivea. I don't want her to leave. We need her here. So we gonna go and apologize, which it is very hypocritical. I think it was Felicia who said, you know, Lamisha only likes to, she likes to argue and then she likes to apologize. It's like, y'all like to do the exact same thing. So it's just like, everybody does it. But as soon as they knock on her door, and I'm assuming it was a producer in the room, because the twin was like, can we talk to Nivea? Nivea said, I don't want to talk. She was packing her bags, and the twins was like, wait, what you doing with? And like I said earlier with Felicia and Lamisha, if somebody say they don't want to talk, back up. Leave them alone. That goes for everybody. If somebody say they don't feel like talking, leave them alone. But they continue coming at her, so you know, and she's already frustrated. So she's like, I said I don't want to talk. I said leave me alone. And you know, so she basically walks out the room, and they was like, okay, I'm sorry. They let it go. But as she's going down the stairs, Keely happens to be coming up, so she got caught with a stray. Because Nivea was like, don't be walking up on me like that. And Keely was like, hey, I ain't do nothing. Like, basically, like, I'm not walking up on you. I was just trying to come upstairs. And, you know, Nivea packed her bags and was loading them into the car, and now she's gone. So now it seems, as of right now, they're down to 6 members in the house. And it's just like, you know, what are you going to do? And then next week, it looks like the twins and Lamisha are going to be fighting again. And it's just like, Carlos, I know it ain't just you, but y'all ruined a potentially good show. Because this is just like the Bad Girls Club R&B divas, if you want to call it that. Because it's just like, there's nothing being done here, and it's so much potential being wasted. Because, like I said, the next episode, it seemed like they talking about her vocals having to be re-recorded, and she was like the lead, or she sung a lot on the songs. Because Nivea has a great voice. Of course, you don't want to lose that, but when all y'all doing is this all day, yeah, you're going to lose that. It's just so frustrating. I didn't even get to drink my wine because I was doing so much talking. But it's just like, this episode, I don't know. It's something about how everybody is turning on the twins. That's how I'm looking at Lamisha and Irish. And I feel like I'm the odd person out. Because everybody, you know, as far as reviews goes and what I watch, everybody's making it seem like the twins are just so wrong. And they're not. Like, everybody wants to have these respectability politics and being nice. You can't be nice all the time. Sometimes you just got to put that shit out there like it is and let the chips fall where they may. And if you don't want to suck it up and do the work, leave. That's just the bottom line. Because I'm with the I don't, like, if I was a singer, I don't want to go out there looking crazy. Like, this is basically my second chance to prove to the world that I can do this and that I can make good music. Why would I want to half-ass that? You wouldn't. Okay, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I hope to see you back next week. Peace and blessings, my beautiful people.